So this story is a kind of a weird one because I'm just going to tell the story and it's going to go where it's going to go. I guess it has to do with birthdays, I guess, but that would be a vague description of what it is. So I was dating this girl a few years back, and I wanted to go somewhere with her. So I'm like, let's go to Colombia. So we went to South America. I'm born in Colombia, but I'm like a tourist. I've been here since I was 5. I'm as American as you can be. So, I speak Spanish, but that's about it. So we go to Medellin. Medellin's incredible. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. It's just lush and green, and then there's city life. There's beautiful restaurants and bars. It's trendy. The food's amazing, which that used to not be the case in Colombia years back. Generally Mexico's got great food, Peru's got great food, whatever. But Colombia just was really never known. Like, I never knew it for that kind of stuff, but at this time it was. And my girlfriend at the time wanted to party, when in Rome. So we're in Colombia, and we go, we just have a great time. We just start going to different places, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the nights she wanted to party. So, we got all the accoutrements to the partying, and we partied like rock stars. And the next day, so we eventually, make it to the hotel, like super late, we stay up all night. And then eventually the next day, we're supposed to go to this beautiful park that is atop of a mountain in a valley, the next day. There's a beautiful, it's a park. So we wake up in the morning and she is dying. She just looks like, and she was very fair skinned to begin with, and she looked like a fucking ghost. So I go get her some Gatorade. I go get her like everything, to try to, get her, up and going. And she just looks terrible. But she's like, no, I don't want to lose the day and this part of the trip. So we end up going. Meanwhile, in order to get there, we could have taken a cab, but in the streets it was going to take too long. So the most effective and most rapid way to get there is through like a monorail station. Meanwhile, I'm using the Google Maps thing or whatever. It works there just as well. It works here, and it takes us to the tram. So basically, we have to walk to a certain area, take the monorail from there to one of those skylift kind of things. And so we get to the first one, and then again, we're walking through tons of people, and she is just looking like she's dying. I'm practically carrying her. So, but she's like, no, I want to go. So we keep going, and then we eventually get to the lift, and she's like, she was just a very, scaredy cat, if you will. To each his own, and everybody can be scared of what they can be scared of. But she was scared of kind of a little bit of heights, and so I said, no, we're good. So we start taking the little tram thing, and she just is like she even got more pale than I've ever seen anything. Look at this backdrop back there. It was more pale than that. So we eventually get to apparently not only did we have to take that little cart, it takes you, there's multiple steps to get all the way up there because it's in the mountains. You got to go way up the fucking mountains in order to get to this fucking place. So at some point we're like, yo, I got to get her off of this thing. So we got off of the thing and I walked around. We stopped at a little kind of like a cafeteria. Meanwhile, on the way up there, it ain't the best neighborhood. So it's like you're in a beautiful area, then you're in a shitty area, and then you're in a beautiful area again, and then there's another shitty area. It was fucking weird. I'd never experienced that before. So basically by the third one, she's like, I want to go back. And by now I'm like, sweetheart, listen, it's closer to get up than it is to go back down. Our turning back point was about 3 stops to go. So we're just gonna have to kind of muscle it up, okay? So I eventually, get her some more Gatorade, try to get her to eat, and then she's like throwing up, and I'm like, man, this is horrible. So eventually we get all the way to the top, and we get to the top, and then there is a beautiful valley. It's a beautiful, just trees and green. There's a fucking butterfly museum up there. So basically, it's a sanctuary for for butterflies, and you can walk in there and they land on your nose and shit. It was fucking magical. Meanwhile, she is miserable because she's dying. She's just like fucking dying. So at some point, I eventually get to another area where there's like a little kind of in that butterfly park. There's a little kind of cafeteria. And that cafeteria is kind of almost like a school cafeteria. It was very kind of institutional, whatever. But they served kind of food, and I bought some food and tried to get her to eat, and she wouldn't eat. So while I'm there, I'm like, man, I don't know what we're gonna do because she's just like in a really bad shape, and I was kind of afraid to take her down from there at that point because she was just in such bad shape. I just figured, I'm like, let's wait a little longer, let her get, and then we'll go back down. So eventually, I'm just, she's like basically got her head down on the table, and she looks like she's dying. And I said to, I grabbed my phone, and it says hotel Wi-Fi, and I said, what? There's a hotel up here? So I asked the cafeteria lady, there's the lady that was in the cafeteria, said, hey, is there a hotel up here? It goes, yeah, it's called La Roca Blancas. It's called the White Rocks. And I go, would you do me a favor? Would you call them and make a reservation for me? So I said, so she goes, yeah, I could do that for you. Here, my name's Omar. It's going to be two of us. So I eventually go over. We go to the thing, and I ended up like I basically had to go about 600 yards to get to the hotel. It was very close, but it was around a little bit. So I said, so I'm trying to get her to walk, and she ain't walking. I'm trying to carry her, and even that way she just doesn't want it. So I look over and I go, there's like a rickshaw. So with like not a well, it was more of like a horse-drawn carriage, but not like the ones you see in New York and in the, like real romantic. It was very kind of crude and very rustic. Let's put it that way. So we get on the thing. It cost me like $15 to fucking go 600 yards, but it was worth every penny because, I wanted her to fucking feel comfortable as much as possible under the circumstances. So we make it up the hill, and I look over, and then again it's like another passageway. He gets me, basically it was 600 yards. I paid $15. It was nothing. I still had to fucking carry her another 1,000 yards till we got to the freaking hotel. I didn't realize it was there, but it was just far. Yet it was like wrapping around, and it was this beautiful canopy of trees and this beautiful little brick pavers, and it was just all nature, and it was fucking, the climate was perfect. You could smell the nature. It was one of the most beautiful walks I've ever had, other than the fact that I was carrying an adult in my arms. So I carry her all the way to the thing. We finally get to the area, and it's like this beautiful hotel, but it's very small. It's like a boutique hotel. I would say there may be 16 rooms, maybe 12 rooms in the whole place, and it was in the middle of a valley. So you had like it's a beautiful lake, and then you have mountains on next. I mean, I would have never gotten to that place if it wasn't for this particular situation. So I eventually get to the front desk, and I said, oh my God, thank God. Meanwhile, now I'm exhausted myself. First of all, I partied myself the night before as well. And then I'm carrying an adult. She's petite and small, but she's an adult. So we get to the door, and then I'm like, oh, listen, I need a room for tonight, please. I really appreciate it. She goes, oh, absolutely, absolutely. I need your IDs. So I pull out my ID, and I'm like, babe, let me get your ID. And she's like, oh, I didn't bring it. And I go, oh. So she's like, oh no, she needs to have an ID. So, because over there, you have to have an ID in order to stay at the place. It's like a rule, but meanwhile, I'm like, listen, and I'm trying to convince her, and I realize that she was like stopping me. But I'm like, listen, look at her. She looks like she's fucking dying. I need to, this is like a medical situation. I need you to let us in here please. And she kind of goes, she looks at me, and she looks at how bad shape she was, and she goes, okay. So, she let me slide. So eventually we get into the place. I put her in a bed. I can't even tell you how beautiful. The rooms were very nice. I would say very nice, but they were kind of like something you see in a chalet in France. It's like very, everything's made out of wood, it's very natural. You don't have like big ass electronics or fancy bathtub. It's just a beautiful fucking place. overlooking some of the most beautiful nature, a place that most people will never see because it's in the middle of fucking nowhere on a mountain, in a valley in that mountain. So I put her to I put her into bed, and actually I gave her a bath. I gave her a bath because she was just, I'm like, I gave her a bath. I got her some fucking Advil or some aspirin, and I put her to sleep, and she passed out. So meanwhile, I have all this time to kind of look around, and I kind of appreciated how beautiful this fucking place was. I took some pictures, and maybe when I'm posting this video, I'll post some of the pictures that were on there. I mean, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And I get there, and while I'm there, and then this is kind of the point of the story. So I work in the restaurant business, and I see this, my entire life, this singing of happy birthday from total strangers. Like you get these people that don't know you. And definitely, let me tell you something. A server never want to sing for you. Never, never. I don't care how fucking big their smile is and how sweet you think. We never want to sing for you. And because it's kind of like, just first of all, we have a job to do. Imagine you doing your job, and by the way, hey, listen, why don't you dance, clown, or fucking sing for me? I'm not classically trained. Why would you ask a total stranger to sing for you? It's fucking crazy ass behavior. And the reason that I mention that is because in that place there was a birthday party. There was a group of people. They were probably in their mid-20s, maybe early 30s. And there were about 16 of them, I'd say, couples. But they were giving this birthday to this one of their friends there. And it was just magnificent. It was just like they were singing, they were dancing, they were not, like, it's that bullshit, like the idea of people here, or the culture here, I think it's almost like, let's go to a restaurant. I'm not saying all of them, just in general, because of the exposure that I have in this particular scenarios, in my industry, is to come to a restaurant, throw some fucking confetti on the table, and then start, what did you guys sing? Get everybody so we can say, because we want to embarrass them. Because that's what you want to do to your friends. Instead of treating them well and be happy with, no, let's embarrass them. I mean, it's fucking odd behavior to me. And then I saw that for the first time. I go, my goodness, these people are here. They came up a fucking mountain to spend times with their friends. And they all showed up on time, by the way. Because most of the time, everybody, heaven forbid you have a birthday party, and I've been in these situations. Nobody shows up on time. Like, listen, we say at 8 o'clock, fucking show up at fucking 8 o'clock. So these people were there, they were singing, they were dancing. They looked like it was like a movie. It looked like what you would imagine a birthday to be. It was a great example of how life is different wherever you go. I'm not saying it's better. I mean, in this particular case, I think it's better, but it might be because I'm a little bit biased because I hate having to sing happy birthdays. I mean, I don't do it anymore. Thank goodness at the place I work at, we do not do that. First of all, because it's fucking tacky. You imagine you're having dinner, some fucking every 5 seconds someone's just fucking singing happy birthday? It's fucking annoying. Fucking, it's ridiculous. And it's like, another thing, it's like, people assuming that the restaurant's gonna buy you a dessert because it's your birthday. Fuck out of here. You out of your fucking mind? Go buy yourself a dessert. Oh my goodness. I mean, I could go on with desserts for hours and hours as to how fucking ridiculous they are. Not to mention how fucking ridiculous these cakes are. They are just an abomination. Fondant might be the most gross thing on the planet. It's like a piece of plastic on top of a piece of shitty cake, because everybody's so worried about the way that the cake looks and that everybody's looking at the person, that it's their birthday, that they forget that the cake shouldn't taste like shit. They all taste like garbage. I haven't had a cake. I mean, the ones that look like old cakes are the ones that are the tastiest. And another thing with the cakes is like people that spend they spend $1,000 worth of on a table, and they get like a Publix cake. And I'm like, listen, Publix cakes are very good, and I love Publix. I'm fucking from South Florida, but for the fuck's sake, do it up with the cake where it's a nice cake. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be like a nice cake, but it needs to be fucking edible, not dumbass fondant. So yeah, that's the story of like me going up a fucking mountain accidentally because of my girlfriend getting super fucking plastered. That I found one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I mean, it is just it's like a I can't even describe it. It is just absolutely fucking stunning, and because of happenstance, I was able to experience it. She eventually woke up. I got her some food. I mean, and meanwhile, it was like there were so few people there. There was just like that group of the 16 people, and then once they went to sleep, there was nothing really else going on. And we know basically we had a restaurant to ourselves. It was kind of like The Shining, but instead of it being creepy, it was fucking beautiful, and the staff's just perfect and nice and whatever. So the next day, we were able to when she settled down, we were able to get out of there. But yeah, it was one of the most beautiful places, and I loved her, so I enjoyed it very much because of that as well. It's kind of weird when you care for someone and then they're sick, and you want to be just ultra accommodating. That's how I was with her, and when she was the same way with me, the other way. So yeah, that's my story. Listen, fuck happy birthdays. Stop asking people to stop asking total strangers to sing for you because they don't want to do it. They hate it. And that's my so fucking happy birthday. Story. So this is just an addition to the story and what I kind of wanted to say, and I was struggling to get it out. I find it that in some cultures and here in the US, it's kind of like we want so much fucking attention. We were like these parties and groups, they're not there for that one person. They're like, they want everybody to see them all together and be seen. And they're not worried about the person that actually is celebrating the birthday. They're just kind of like there for the experience, and it's like they don't give a fuck. They're worried about other shit. And then those people that I met over there and that I saw were that was something that I had never seen before, and it's something that most of us haven't experienced before. So I experienced one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, and experienced one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, which was what felt to me like one of the most genuine birthday parties I'd ever seen. Adults dancing and singing and just basically there for these people in a remote place where nobody would see them. They weren't there to be seen. They were there to be there with those fucking people. So that's what that's about and what I needed to add after the fact. Thanks for watching, and I don't know, this is just another story in my life. And I hope you enjoy it.